After receiving a few questions on my last on location video, I decided to demonstrate how I use these panoramic adapters to achieve straight, symmetrical panoramic images with a medium format film camera. So for this, we're going to be using the Bronica SQ-Ai, which is a square format film camera. We're going to be shooting 4 images of this scene behind me and stitching them together in Lightroom. The panoramic adapter itself consists of this circular base here. What it allows you to do is attach a quick release plate from your ball head or your tripod head, and then from there you can attach the included plate to the top and utilize this system here as your quick release. So what the adapter allows you to do is pan the camera independently from the ball head or the fluid head. So once you have leveled the head and everything's good to go, you can release the pan on the adapter and you can turn the camera like this. So what I'm looking for in this scene is a nice sharp focus on the tennis racket here hanging in the tree and a nice shallow fall off in the background. So there are 3 main considerations when taking panoramic images. The first one is horizon level. If your horizon is off, your images are going to start to droop one way. When you stitch them together, you're not going to make the most of the resolution, and it's just not good practice to do that. The second one is image overlap. So when you're stitching images together, you need to allow for around 1/3 of each frame to be able to stitch them together successfully. And the last one is lighting. So it really comes down to preparation, to looking at each frame and knowing exactly where 1/3 overlap is going to be, and knowing where your middle point of the scene is also going to be. So another big consideration when shooting panoramics is you need to pre-visualize the scene. So with this particular shot, I want the tennis racket to reach almost top and bottom of the frame, and I want to have a nice shallow depth of field, get the background to fall off nicely. So once you've found your subject, the first thing you're going to want to do is find the center point. So we're going to do that now. So I found my center point of the frame, and I'm happy that my foreground, background and everything is going to work nicely. The next thing that's really important is to level the camera. So most tripod heads will have a bubble level on there. If not, you can pick them up quite cheap online. So what we're going to do for that is center the front to back and the left to right of the head. So once you've leveled the camera, what you want to do is lock off the ball head on the tilt and the pan. Now we've got a camera that's perfectly leveled, you're happy with the center of the frame, you've got your focus on the subject. So at this point you can unlock the adapter and pan the camera to the left and to the right to find your edges of the frame for the panoramic. Now remember to leave 1/3 overlap for each image, this way you'll have enough for stitching later. So once you're happy with each frame, double check that everything is level, you're happy with the focus, then it's time to meter the scene. So I've opted for F2.8, which is the widest on the 18mm, and the shutter speed of 1/125th. So before you take the actual shots, it doesn't hurt to actually go back through, check your frames, make sure you've got enough overlap. Right, so with those 4 shots, we're going to head over to Lightroom and stitch them together. And here we are in Lightroom. I've gone ahead, scanned them in, and converted them with Negative Lab Pro. Now I haven't really done too much to these. I've just kind of given them a linear look for now because I like to do all of the adjustments afterwards. So what we're going to do is select the TIFF files generated by Negative Lab Pro, and what you do is head up to Photo Merge and Panorama. Now that's going to go ahead and kind of merge your photos together, and generally this does a pretty good job when you just let it do it itself. You can always go through and check that everything looks correct and all your lines are straight. Now this is looking pretty good to me. You can go ahead and play around with these options here, but this is the most important thing. You can see there's very little wasted resolution here. So we're going to be cropping in from here and really being able to utilize most of that resolution from the negative. So I'm going to go ahead and click auto crop because I have no use for this extra space here, top and bottom, and we're going to hit merge. So after a few seconds, Lightroom has generated this panoramic image for you, and you can see it's already looking really good. But there are a few things we need to do. So the first thing I like to do is adjust the aspect ratio, and I've got a preset custom aspect ratio here, which is 6:17. And what that does is locks in your aspect ratio, so you can then go ahead and crop in where needed and adjust, which I'm going to do just roughly there for now. You can check that your edges aren't clipping by using soft proofing. So from here you can see Lightroom has generated a .dng file for us, which is great because that allows us to edit the file in its entirety without sort of degrading the image in any way. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is apply a few adjustments here for the sort of look that I'm going for. And lastly, I would then go in and remove all of the dust from the image. Now, I typically prefer doing this in Photoshop, but just for demonstration purposes, I can remove a few bits of dust here with the Q key. So this is the final image once I've removed all of the dust. Very happy with it. It's nice and sharp, a nice bit of grain there. And this has been my process for shooting and stitching panoramic images from the Bronica SQ-Ai. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, give us a thumbs up. And if you're interested in buying any prints or checking out my blog, head over to lockstock.uk.